Hey, Allison, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for joining me. So, Allison is with me today. Allison was a graduate of my signature program, the Eating Empowerment Series. And she's with me today just to talk a little bit about her experience in doing the program and what it was like for her to really create a paradigm shift around eating empowerment and relationship with body, with food. So thanks again for joining me today. And the first question
Oh,
I have for you is, what made you want to sign up for the Eating Empowerment series in the first place? Do you recall?
oh my God, why not? I've always really struggled with cravings and cyclical thoughts around food, obsessive behaviors, and also using food as a surrogate for feelings or trying to squelch feelings. I really wanted to figure out how to bridge that gap between using food every single day because I'm a human being that needs to eat and not using it improperly. And that is definitely what I was looking for and really what I got from the course. Absolutely.
That's great. So sounds like you were really looking for a way to be in the world as an eater, as we all are, but from this place of groundedness and intuitiveness and flow and just not feeling stress or strain with respect to your relationship with food. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's always really turned me off about fad diets or people who will, go to the gym and exercise 2 hours a day, and that's all of it is beneficial and healthy. But what happens when you're done? What
Mm-hmm.
happens when the diet is over, or what happens when life gets just too busy to keep going to the gym every single day? What happens to your body then? And so it's really like learning to incorporate life in such a way that is sustainable and gentle and natural, that it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. It eventually you adopt these habits and and consistent behaviors that you no longer eventually have to think about them, and you live a life of calm and normalcy in your relationship with food,
Mm.
and also exercise and wellness and wholeness, um, without feeling like you have to live up to some arbitrary ideal or
Mhm.
societal standard, you know.
Absolutely. So, was that your experience in the program? Did you actually experience all those things that you just described after going through it?
Heck yes. Heck yes. I had so many. First of all, the course was way more material, way more material than I ever anticipated that was going to be presented. So much material. Um, and not in a terrible way. It was more like a treasure trove. And it wasn't just like a couple of writing assignments. I mean, this was really fully embodying, on a daily basis, learning. It, it, it was an unbelievable wealth and resource of materials. And through that, I feel like I discovered all sorts of things about the way that I dwell in my head rather than my body.
Hmm.
And learning how to really be cognizant of how the body and the emotions are so tightly um, entwined. And I had never really noticed that before, or maybe earlier in my life I had squelched it out somehow.
Hmm.
Um, but I learned a lot that I took away from the course, big time.
I'm so happy to hear that. And just the way that you describe that, I tend to be, I tend to try to over deliver. I want people to know all the things that I have learned myself.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad that you received it as this like treasure trove, as a gift, because you get lifetime access to all that material. So even,
Yes.
there would be people who'd be like, well, I didn't have a chance to read it this week, but I read it the week after and it was amazing. And yeah, so what Alison is describing is that we, in this course we have the group coaching segment once a week, but then there's also an online classroom where I put in additional trainings and materials and PDFs and worksheets and journal prompts. And so it sounds like you got a lot out of both those aspects of the program.
Yes, some of it actually I have saved on my desktop at work, so I can
Yay.
refer to it all the time and keep it refreshed in my memory. You know, as with any good practice, you have to continually practice,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not always hard. Every, challenges in life are not always hard; they're not always easy, and you have to just kind of stay on top of it with like a little feather touch in
Mm-hmm.
order to keep it current and yeah, like I said, the materials are plentiful and useful, and I do go back and re-access them frequently.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So you mentioned the whole like mind body connection and how you almost didn't even recognize just how connected it is. How a lot of times we almost depersonalize the experience of eating, and we see it as calories or just a scale or just something empirical to figure out and manipulate. And what you said is you found like the coming together, the amalgamation of mind body as it relates to eating and as it relates to your appetite, and everything that makes us human is how we relate to food, right? And then that's okay. But so that was, it sounded like it was a surprise for you. And I'm curious if there were any other sort of ahas or surprises. You're pretty like well versed, like you're very knowledgeable, you have a lot of insight. Um, and you're somebody who went into this knowing a lot about psychology and knowing a lot about nutrition in general. So, what
Mhm.
else was a surprise to you that you were like, oh my gosh, wow, as much as I know, I learned this, this, and this?
I think there's a lot of things that that I've always been aware of on a very low survival type level, but through the subjects that you brought up, I was able to identify all of these locations of fear, of scarcity, of not
Mm-hmm.
feeling taken care um, of not being sure if I'm going to have what I need, um,
Mm-hmm.
and learning that what I had identified as a need that could be fulfilled by food, there are other things that I found absolutely feed and fulfill my soul and my emotions, that suddenly when those are taken care of, there's no sense of hunger in the body anymore. um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I did come to you with several years of therapy under my belt and multiple nutritionists, dietitians. I've been to weight loss clinics. I've done work with the doctors. Even a couple of years ago, I'd lost weight as on a restrictive diet on my own. But it comes down to it that I just didn't have the embodiment to be able to sustain everything throughout my life. And what I'm doing now is a slow process, but it's sustainable and permanent. And it's teaching me how to be me without a crutch, without using
Mm.
food as a crutch. And
Oh, I
that's
love
been,
that.
it's been really interesting to learn things about myself that I never expected to get out of a course about food.
And that means that you got everything that I had intended for you to get out of it. because it is so not about the food, ultimately. So, I mean, I know people, of course, it plays a role and we're in relationship with food, but there's so many other nuances to who we are as eaters than just the food. It's our thoughts, it's our beliefs, it's our perceptions, it's the way we move, it's the way we have been indoctrinated into dieting culture. There's so many things that swirl around with the second we take out and pick up a piece of food. It's our whole cultural history, it's our whole familial history, it's our past traumas, it's everything that, and essentially this is the psychology of eating. It's not just calories, it's
Yeah.
not just food. Oh, I'm so glad that you got that out of this program. So what would you say is like, so I hear you that was a big surprise and a big sort of aha for you. If you were to pick like one or two like main takeaways that you could say, or like emotions that you got from this participating in this program wholeheartedly and doing the work and spending, you came to every class and you did all the work. What was the main takeaway and or emotions that you were left with? Like, where were you before and where are you now?
The main takeaway that I have is relief. That answer even surprises me. But when I realized that the inner fighting was going away, the inner struggles, the cyclical thoughts, the obsessive thoughts, the compulsive need for snacks and cravings and whatnot, when I realized that those were going away and it was becoming quiet and I wasn't tense as nearly as much, nearly as often, not nearly as intensely, it was just calm and peace, and relief is the best word for it. I feel relieved that I'm finally gaining power and control over something that I've desperately wanted power and control over as long as I can, at least 30 years, that I've been struggling with this. And I would say the lessons that I still refer to the most often are surfing the urge and dropping into my body, to get it out of my head and drop into my body and say, okay, well, what am I feeling? Why? Where is it coming from? What can I do? And then being able to breathe through it and be gentle with myself rather than trying to bully my body into doing something that doesn't feel natural to it. It might feel natural to other people, to subsist on 15 to 1700 calories a day. It's not for me. I'm a big girl. And so for me to be consistently under 2000 calories a day is nothing short of remarkable.
Effortlessly is what you're saying.
Effortlessly.
Yeah.
Effortlessly. At this point, it feels like I'm doing nothing.
Oh my goodness. That's incredible. Wow. And what you really said is what I envisioned for this program is peace and freedom and relief from all the obsession up here about food, what to eat, when to eat, how many bites. And this is what I heard most often from the graduates, from the other women who did the course with us, was just there was less noise up here around food. Less noise, more expansiveness to learn other things, to do other things, to love deeper, to contribute more, because there's less fear and less struggle and less force and less obsession, all of those things. And it's exactly what you described. It's great.
And when we first met, I remember saying to you that I wanted to understand why I couldn't sustain change and why I was having trouble emotionally connecting to change, because I did feel so detached from everything. And now I've reached a point where I understand myself and the desire wells up from within. It's not this external set of rules or some arbitrary set of this is how I'm supposed to be. It's now coming up naturally. And that has been something I've been searching for years.
That fills me with so much joy. You have no idea. And to hear you express that so beautifully, it just gives me chills, to be honest. So thank you for sharing that. And just one last question. Why would you recommend this particular, there's a lot of people who do what I do. There's a lot of similar programs, sort of an anti-diet, intuitive eating, mindful eating, intrinsic wisdom, body image. There are a lot of programs like this out there. What sets this program apart, and why would you recommend it to somebody else?
Well, I love that you can literally live anywhere in the world and participate fully, because we're all living from different places in the world doing this course. And what sets it apart, I think, is you're not trying to relay things from like a textbook standard. Like, you have struggled with this yourself. You have overcome this yourself. And you're coming from a place of knowledge, as well as not just intellectual knowledge, but emotional knowledge and wisdom and intuition. And there's something very special about you, Jenny Burke, that you're able to really relate with people and connect with people and touch with people in a way that's not common.
Oh, thank you, Allison.
And I would, why wouldn't anybody take this course with you?
Oh.
Is my response.
Thank you so much. That's so, I just feel really touched to hear that. And I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me today and talk about your experience and recommend it to people. And I just think you're amazing, and just, everything that you embody is exactly what I want for people, exactly what I want for people. So kudos to you and all the hard work that you've been doing as well.
Thank you. And the work is so worth it. It is so worth it.
It is. We still want that quick fix, but unfortunately, anything that we grow from takes work. It does. It's like pick your hard. Both scenarios are hard, and it's like pick your hard. And I'm glad that you picked this hard.
Sorry, big laugh.
Oh, that's okay. I love it. I love it. All right. Well,
sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for anybody watching. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.